Hey, Chris here. I wanted to tell you a story. You see, a few years back I needed work, therefore I started looking around for a job. A friend of mine started working for a bank and I was like, hey, that sounds interesting. So I went on a first interview and they said, are you a numbers person? And I said, I could be. And they said, you're hired. See you at the beginning of the next month. So at the beginning of the next month, I arrived at 8 a.m. and I started to file documents. I became the filing documents person. Account openings, account closings, payments, you name it, I filed it. Right when I started at that bank, I knew that I was going to try my very best to be a good employee. Therefore, I started progressing pretty rapidly within the bank. First, I was the filing documents person, then I entered payments, and then I answered the phones. And then I became a personal assistant, and then they asked me, why don't you become a trainer for the new employees? And then I took the minutes for the executive board meetings, and then I placed investment orders, and then I made investment proposals. Now, all of this was awesome, but I started to notice something about myself, pretty early on actually, and it only started to get worse and worse. I would have all of these responsibilities and I would get home at the end of the day and just feel empty. I didn't produce anything, so there was never that feeling that I actually accomplished something. I got less and less interested in the financial industry and I started living for vacations and weekends. I remember coming back from a 2-week trip feeling that I can't do this anymore. There's so much that I'm being asked to do, so many different hats I need to wear, and I need to be successful at all of these seemingly all at once. But I wasn't really interested in this profession anymore. Now, it was difficult, but I look back and I imagine what it would have been like if I had walked into that bank that first morning and I said, hey, I need work. And they said, great, why don't you become personal assistant right now? So what that means is you don't even have employees yet, but you need to wear the hat of the filing person, do account openings, do account closings, payments, hiring new assistants, train the new assistants, take notes on executive meetings, place investment orders and make proposals on what shares to buy or sell. But also reach out to local news so you can get some good exposure for the bank. And this list could go on and on, with everything that was involved with running that bank. So what does that have to do with becoming a professional landscape photographer, you maybe ask? Well, we have a lot of hats to wear all at once. And in fact, I wrote down a list here of all the hats that we're expected to wear from the start to be successful as a landscape photographer. You got to be a business owner, a marketer, an analyst, an accountant. You also have to be an artist, a teacher, a photo editor, researcher, networker, you got to be a salesperson, a contract specialist, you got to be good in communicating with clients, know tax laws and legal stuff, send out invoices and do estimates. And that list is by no means complete. But what if we're going out into becoming a landscape photographer and feeling like we have to know all of these at once? It's almost equivalent of us waking up one day and saying, hey, I want to become a full-time landscape photographer. And the equivalent of our camera looking at us and saying, oh, that's great. So by the way, here's a list of things. And you have to be perfect at all of them right now. Do you see the problem with that? I hope you see that. We're all humans. You cannot accomplish all of these at once, and that's okay. In fact, even if you and I did everything perfectly right from the very beginning, and hint, I only know of very few people that are actually perfect, and even if that were the case, it would still take time. What we need to do is we need to prove ourselves as artists and then also attach the right audience with our art. Do you want to sell prints in galleries or art shows? Do you want to teach other photographers? Do you want to reach out to hundreds of tourism agencies? Do you want to take part in photography contests? It's just how things work when we set out to follow a path which is wanted by so many. There are going to be barriers that test us and try us. To help us understand for ourselves, yes, I want this, and yes, I really want to become a full-time artist, and that's a good thing. The other big factor that comes into play here is that there is something inherently scary to us as artists about publishing our work for the world to see, but maybe not get the recognition we might think we deserve. You see, in many cases, it's the same as the fear of people seeing us for who we really are. But to pursue the dream of thousands of aspiring landscape photographers, make this a highly competitive line of business, but also as much hard and boring work that comes along with any other profession. As with all things, making a living means something different to everyone. For some, it is the freedom of being able to do what they want, when they want, and just make enough money to get by. To others, it means making a lot of money to become rich and famous. Just take this perspective as you're going forward with it, because we're always improving, and yes, you're doing it right now. So maybe you want to make landscape photography your full-time job, or maybe you just want to be proud of your images and have them hanging in your house. In either case, here's a recommendation for you. Oh, and by the way, if this video is being helpful to you, I would appreciate it if you give it a like so it can spread to more people. This is a message I want more people to hear, especially this year. There's just something going on with people feeling extremely overwhelmed, feeling like they want to choose a new path in their life and want to do something new. So if there's someone in your life that just needs to hear this message, I would love it if you would share this video with them. Okay, now back to my recommendation. This is what I want you to do right now. I want you to pick one hat or one role to focus on right now and improve it. Then once you made some progress wearing that hat, I want you to repeat and pick another one. In fact, we do our best to make this channel about helping you becoming a better landscape photographer. And I do have a video here on the channel dedicated to one of the hats you could be wearing right now. If you want to sell your prints in galleries or at art shows, or just have them in your house on your wall, you should check out this video right here about how to photograph for large prints. So go watch this video next. You've got this. See you over there. Bye-bye.